when something happens that wasn't fair or wasn't right, in my estimation. And
we want to say, we're going to be gentle with you. So what?
So
we're going to be gentle with you. Too bad.
But what I'm trying to do is put it down. I mean, let go of it.
Well, here's the thing. We want your motivation to let go of it to be, you deserve to feel good, and thinking about injustice won't let you feel good. Because a thought of injustice is a thought of disempowerment, which the source within you doesn't agree with. In other words, there are no victims, and we know that's hard to hear because you see bullies beating up on people and you say, well, certainly there was a perpetrator and certainly there was a victim. And we say, vibrationally speaking, nobody can be a victim if they don't have a victim vibration. And if you don't do something about your victim vibration, you're going to be a victim. And you say, well, I don't think I should have to be a victim. I think we should get rid of all victimizers. And then there could be no victims. And we say, if there were no people who had a feeling of victim, there would be no victimizers either. In other words, you got to take charge of your own vibration. And until you do, you will see all kinds of injustices. We know Esther sees them too. Esther says, Abraham, you've got to give this to me. That was unjust. You have to admit it. And we say, we do not acknowledge injustice. And as long as you are, you're separated from us. And as long as you're separated from us, you don't feel good. And as long as you don't feel good, you're trying to do everything in the world except come back into alignment with us. The only way you will feel good is to come back into alignment with the thought that comes forth from the expanded being that you are. And the source within you will never acknowledge injustice, because law of attraction is this equal opportunity law that responds consistently and accurately, and no one ever lives anything different than what they are offering vibrationally. So then you say, well, I'm sure I didn't create that. I wouldn't have wanted to create that. Why would I create something I don't want? And we say, because you thought about it. You mean thinking about things I don't want creates them? And we say, thinking about what you don't want prevents what you do want. There's not a source of evil. There's not a source of badness. There's not a source of darkness. You don't walk into a room and look for a dark switch, and when you turn it, it makes inky, misty darkness cover up the light. But you can twist a knob that resists the light, and you can find thoughts that disallow the wellness, you see.
Right.
So we know there are so many people for so long have, if someone behaves in a way that is pleasing, you like that. And then you want others to behave in pleasing ways, because it's easy to feel good when someone is performing in a way that pleases you. And in a way, anybody who's not willing to please you, it feels unjust to you. In other words, people say it to their lovers all the time. You just don't make me feel the way you made me feel in the beginning. You don't bring me flowers anymore. You don't do those things you used to do. And we say, you cannot give your power to another by asking them to perform in ways that make you feel good. You have to accept your attraction. You have to accept that you are the attractor of your experience. But the thing that we have been emphasizing here today, that most people, even those who are now hearing and wanting to deliberately understand the law of attraction, the reason that you feel the way you do is because the law of attraction responds to the vibration of who you really are and who you've become. And law of attraction is responding to who you're being right now. And that feeling of injustice is because you're beating the drum of something that's not letting you go with who you are. And the true injustice is, I'm not being who I really am. I'm not as happy as I really am. I'm not as clear as I really am. I'm not as alive as I really am. I'm not as knowing as I really am. I'm not as loving as I really am. I don't feel as worthy as I really am. I don't love myself as much as I really do. I don't love you as much as I really do. I'm holding myself by virtue of my earthly standard to some standard that's got me separated. That's the feeling of injustice. Me not letting we say, when you feel injustice, give whoever is the perpetrator of the injustice a break, not because they deserve it, but because you do. When you give them the benefit of the doubt. Or even better, when you think about them not at all and think about something that makes you feel better, when you withdraw your attention from this subject of injustice, you allow yourself to come back into alignment. And the true injustice is your separation, which you have control over.
Okay.
And that is empowerment. The only place that you will ever discover freedom is in the knowledge that you can focus in a way that lets the whole of you be you. You see, before you come into this physical body, you are one stream, and oh, the power of that is so delicious. And then you're born into this body, and the moment that you're born, if you separate a little just by the influence, you're born to a mother who's been worried about you for 9 months, and now you're here, she's really worried about you. And so there's a slight separation, but that brilliant little infant that you are, you go right to sleep and close the gap. Then you wake up and you widen it a little, you go to sleep and close it. Babies sleep a lot, and that's why. You sort of acclimate, and the longer you are in your physical body, doesn't have to be this way, but the more you usually find to fuss and worry about things. And so over time, the longer you live, the more you find to use as your legitimate excuse, you think, to separate yourself from who you are. You find more things to worry about, and then you slumber at night and you close your gap. When you wake up in the morning, you widen your gap. You join that online chat group and you really widen your gap. Not all of them, but there are a lot of complaining groups where they're justifying where they're looking for injustice or finding injustice or amplifying the injustice. And then you go to sleep and you close your gap. And then you wake up and you widen it. And then you meditate and you close your gap. And then you wake up and you widen it, and then you go to sleep. You wake up, you croak. That really closes your gap. When you croak, we like that disrespectful word because there is no death. Croak. When you croak, you close your gap. And so what you're really wanting to know, what you're really wanting to consciously acknowledge is that I am something that maybe I'm letting myself be and maybe I'm not. Period. End of story. There's no more to the story of who you are. And there is no injustice. There's just me finding something that I'm using as my excuse to separate myself. And the longer you find something to use as your excuse to not let yourself be who you really are, the greater injustice you feel, because at every level of your being, you know you're supposed to feel like this, not like this. Mm-hmm. And so then you look at the reason that you feel like this and you say, that's true injustice. Because if you behave differently, I'd feel like this. And we say, don't ask others to behave differently so that you can be who you are. Train yourself to be who you are, little by little by little. And then people worry. They say, oh, Abraham, will I get so good at closing my gap that I turn my attention from my former pictures of injustice in the world? Isn't that putting my head in the sand? Isn't that denying my value to others? Won't things just get worse? If I don't get hold of them and wrestle them to the ground and kill them, won't they become more? And we say, on the contrary, the more attention you give to them, the more of your power you add to it, because law of attraction then makes you part of that. Makes you part of the injustice, makes you amplified physical evidence of the very injustice that you are trying to prevent. Because you cannot push against something without becoming part of it. And the more you become part of something you don't want, the more you deny what you do want, the more you deny who you have become, you see. You all innately understand that. When someone loves you and they hold you as their object of attention, oh, it feels so good. You just lap that up so. You say, please feel like this about me forever because I love the way it feels. But there is a disempowerment innately within that, because then what that's saying is, now you need to hold me as your undivided attention, and no one does that for you, but the source within you does. You see, the source within you holds you in your expanded form as its undivided attention. You're the one who divides the attention. When you find fault with yourself, you separate yourself. When you don't like yourself for some reason, you separate yourself. Even if you feel you have valid reason for it, when you look at someone else and something that they've done and you feel bad as you focus upon it, you've separated yourself from who you are. That's what Esther means when she says, Abraham, please just come over here and complain with me for a minute. Because it feels so awful when I'm over here complaining without you. We're supposed to be together, Abraham. Come over here and admit this injustice with me, and then I won't be separated from you. And we say, isn't it nice that Source has better standards than that? Your friends, they come, they be with you. I'll be there for you. I'll be there. I'll complain with you every day. I'll listen to you complain about your husband, and I'll put in my 2 cents worth. I'll agree with you about how bad he is. I will agree with you. I'll hook you up with others who will agree with you too. We'll all get together and we'll agree with how bad it is. And we say, oh, there is so much perpetuation of separation, but there is no solution to it other than releasing the resistance and coming into alignment with your power, you see. You will never feel good if you think your path to feeling better is solving the injustices of the world. First of all, they're not living by your standards. Next, they don't even agree with you about what's justice and injustice. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? Hardly anybody agrees with hardly anybody. And it's a good thing that they don't need to. You just have to agree with you. And when you do, oh, you're such a powerful being. So, the key to ridding your life of injustice is to appreciate the things that you think are just, and amplifying those things that you think are just so powerfully within you that that's the dominant vibration that you offer. And when you offer a vibration of appreciation of good things, only good things can come to you, because the things that you don't consider to be good things can't come to you, because the vibration that you're offering is only about good things. And then people say, oh, if I put my head in the sand and don't focus upon those things that I don't want, then those injustices have to go away. And we say, it is law. Only things that are active in your vibration can come to you. It is law.